Today I'm about to interview Tristan Scarborough. He actually has an event coming up January 5th in Knoxville, Tennessee. Valor Fighting Championships. He's fighting for the light heavyweight championship in as an amateur. He's 3-0. He's facing Torres Finney, who's also a light heavyweight, and it's going to be interesting too because both of these fighters have a football background. Both of these fighters, and the only difference though is that Tristan has more experience in terms of fighting as an amateur in mixed martial arts, whereas Torres Finney, he's got a background in wrestling. Okay, and Tristan is a Thai boxer. He's really good in Muay Thai and fists, knees, shins, all that kind of stuff. Whereas Torres Friendly, who I'm going to be interviewing soon, he's a two-time state wrestling champion. So it's going to be really interesting to see the differences between these two fighters. I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I cannot wait to see what both of these gentlemen do in the octagon. January 5th, Valor Fighting Championships. So he should be coming on in just a second. They also have the pro event January 9th, where there's going to be a lot of good fighters, including Logan Neal versus Nathan Arriaga. Those two fighters, I'm telling you, it's going to be something special. They don't really do much trash talking. They don't. But I'm telling you what, when the octagon, when that bell rings, that's when you're gonna see the trash talk. That's when you're gonna see the real fireworks. See, some fighters, they need that. Some fighters, they need that to amp up the fight, to amp up themselves, to let the people know. But then when you have two dogs in the octagon, sometimes you ain't even gotta go out there and promote it because you're like, look, when you see us fight, it's going to be a dog fight. And Nathan Arriaga, he's a type of fighter who he likes to get hit. He's like, you better knock me out because if I get up, I'm gonna go harder. And Logan Neal, he's a guy who he just keeps coming as well. He's a guy who doesn't quit. He keeps coming after you. You hit him, he comes right back. So it's definitely going to be a beautiful matchup to see. And if y'all can't see it, there definitely will be highlights. There definitely will be highlights on YouTube, whether it be on Valor Fighting Championships page or YouTube, Instagram, whatever. It's going to be some really good fights that are going to happen. And I cannot wait to see. 2021 is going to be a great year for mixed martial arts. It really is. Even in the midst of the pandemic, which has been tough. It's been tough. But a lot of these fights have been coming on. And it really has helped sports in general. Being able to see so many great fights in mixed martial arts and in boxing. It really is. It's been incredible. Awesome. Just about to hop on. See you. So he's joining now. Valor Fighting Championships, January 5th for Tristan Scarborough versus Torres Finney for light heavyweight title. Both are great fighters, both football backgrounds. one has more experience fighting as a mixed martial artist, the other has a wrestling background, and Tristan has never faced a wrestler in his amateur career, so it's going to definitely be something interesting. Let's see, he's connected. Tristan, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Tristan?
There we go. All good. Got it now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And on the left side of your computer, on your tablet, computer or phone, it should be start video.
Yep. Got it right here.
Yes, sir.
How's it
Hello.
going?
What you say?
Said, how's it going?
Man, it's going good, man. I'm glad to be spending a few minutes of time just talking with you, picking your brain on your upcoming fight. So you're gonna be facing a fighter in Torres Finney, who I remember from our previous interview, you talked about how like you never really faced a wrestler. They never could really take you to the ground. But this time for your light heavyweight championship, which is January 5th in Knoxville, Tennessee, what are some of the methods? What are some of the things that you've done differently in training with Rodrigo at Fearless Fighting that differ from different training camps?
Well, so the fight is now February 5th. I got moved
February.
due to COVID.
Okay.
But as far as training, I've been working a lot with Carlos Martinez, my good friend. So I've been getting my wrestling rounds in addition with my striking. So I'm definitely gonna be ready for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And do you watch any of the tape on Torres? Because Torres is a two-time wrestling champion, and he's got a football background just like you. So you're gonna have two football players in the octagon. How does that make you feel to know? Hey, look, there's another dog in there with me. He's not only a wrestler, but he's a football player just like me.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how has Christmas been with the family and COVID and everything like that? I know it's been interesting, especially when you have to train. What is it like training, but also during the holiday season? Are things a little bit different?
Well, the fight moving back just a bit gave me a little bit more wiggle time to kind of spend time with my family, take those couple days around Christmas to just relax, get Christmas done with, and now just get ready to lock back in the way I was because I was training harder than ever before, and I plan to
Mm,
train harder than that. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what are some of the things that you've learned in the past 2, 3 months? Because I know for you, you like to study um, not only your own fights, but you like to study other people's fights. So what are some of the things that you've learned that you've also incorporated in your own fight style?
uh let's see. I'm trying to think of some fights that I've watched recently. I actually watching Robert Whitaker's fight not too long ago. I really liked his use of the up jab and where he squats down and jabs up. I thought that was a really cool technique that I've tried to start incorporating. Now, given it's not really going to work for this fight, as I'm going to be the taller fighter by a good amount, but I plan to incorporate that into my skill set in the future as well.
I got you. I got you. And so, like, when it comes to like the food part, like, what are some of the things that you are eating? Even though you're a light heavyweight, like, what are some of the dietary needs that you guys have to be worried about or take care of?
So I sit at around like 225 ish, for
Mm,
the most part. So it's not too much weight to cut. I just have to be smart with what I eat. Like I can't be eating a bunch of fast food because
mm,
it's just gonna make it. It's not good for weight and it's not good for training either. It's not gonna lead you into being able to do what you need to do when you train. So just try to eat. For breakfast you eat your eggs, your oatmeal, whole wheat toast, turkey bacon, stuff like that. Then at night, chicken, turkey. Get your vegetables in, things like that. And I mean, there's supplements too, like you can get a supplement called Veggie Greens, which kind of helps with getting all your vegetables in, because sometimes it can be hard, especially if you don't like all your vegetables. So just using supplements like that can help you get a good amount of your vegetables in per day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, the one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of fighters, well, I see more so in like the big promotions like the UFC or the Bellator. They'll throw jabs at each other on social media or in person. Like I see like um in the local MMA community, they don't have that same trash talk. Why is that? Do you think that there's not? Do you think there's more of a respect? Why do you think that there's not as much trash talk?
Well, I think in the amateurs and in the more like entry level pro promotions, those guys are trying to work to get to the UFC,
Mm,
and it's more about the work then, as opposed to trying to sell a pay per view. Because there's only so many pay per views that are going to be sold, and for the most part, people aren't going to hear that message. It's not like you're presenting your trash talk to a national audience trying to get them to view in. So it's more just focus on your craft, get that good, and then when the time comes, then if you've got to throw some trash talk in there to get your pay per views up or get your social media up, then you can do it. But it's just what is trash talking another amateur really going to do unless there's like genuine dislike there and you guys are talking like that because you just don't like each other. But if you're just doing it to try to sell something, that's dumb. Like
mm.
like me and Torres have already talked. We said good luck to each other, and we'll see each other at the weigh-ins, and we're gonna fight. That's what it is.
I respect that. I respect it. You know why? Because I feel like at the end of the day, um, like you said, it's professionally, it's about the money, but amateur, you're building. Like you said in the previous interview, you talked about how like you got to put in the work. Right now,
Exactly.
it's not necessarily about the pay-per-views and stuff like that because you're not getting paid like professionals are. It's more about what can I do in the octagon, and in the octagon, that's when you're going to put your work in. That's when people are going to see the results. So when it comes to this fight, visually, how do you see yourself winning this fight?
I see myself winning by TKO or knockout in the first 2 rounds.
Mm, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as this being your first championship as an amateur, what are some of the things that you're mentally preparing for differently? Do you see this fight as another fight, or do you see it like as a bigger opportunity?
Um, it really doesn't have anything to do with it being a title fight, but my last fight, uh, I won, and there wasn't really a conclusive finish due to the way that it went down. And that kind of bothers me. So if anything, that's motivated me more that I'm not gonna. I don't even want to let it get to the end of the first round because I don't want somebody to just not want to fight anymore and call it and then leave the fans with that. Like I want to be able to. I want to control when that fight ends. I don't want to put it in anybody else's hands, judges or the other or my opponent.
Mm, I got you. I got you. And having this fight pushed back, um, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Like, what was your thoughts on like it being pushed back because of COVID? As a fighter, do you like? Do you think that it's as a fighter, it kind of messes you up because you want to just get in the octagon and show the work?
Um, it doesn't really bother me either way. If anything, it just gave me a little more time to A, keep training, but B, get to focus on the holidays with the family. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room because, I mean, it's a whole another month basically. The only thing that makes me kind of worried is I've dealt with this before where a fight gets moved due to COVID,
Yes,
then the next card gets moved due to COVID, and it becomes a continuous cycle, especially not knowing with how this thing's going to play out,
exactly.
as the winter months continue on. So as long as the fight happens in February, I'm good. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not a little worried that it might become another thing where it's another delay coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you know what? I believe that it's going to work out because I personally believe MMA, local MMA has helped save sports because COVID for a while, because everything with COVID being shut down, um, nothing was really going on. UFC was really like the first sport that I noticed where Dana White was like, "We're gonna fight," and that's when we got to see the fight with Henry Cejudo, and he ultimately called it quits and retired. What is
Right.
your stance on mixed martial arts and COVID and how it's affected positively in the sports world?
I mean, MMA was the first sport to come back. I mean, it gave the other sports organizations hope that they could pull it off. The UFC's handled it better than any other sports organization has been able to. So, I mean, they've kind of been the shining example, which is a cool thing to see. Being that I am in the sport, to see that they've handled it so well. Um, it's crazy times. you
It
never,
is.
you don't really know what to do because I mean, this is this is my fourth delay or cancelment this year.
Wow.
So it's tough to really lock in. It's easier now that I've gone through it, but I mean like for my last fight, it took 3 cancellations before I could get a fight booked. And I love training like a lot, but to keep the mental focus in of like I have a fight coming up, but you don't know if that fight's actually going to happen, it can be kind of wearing. It's kind of like what Francis Ngannou was talking about,
Yeah.
where I don't know if you saw where he's talking about he doesn't know about like what Stipe is doing or when Stipe wants to fight, so he's just sitting there training without like having a real purpose behind it because he doesn't know when he's going to be able to fight. And so
Exactly.
it can be tough to really lock in. You can go through the motions, but it can be tough to lock in when you don't really know what you're there for. This time I've kind of, I've been through it and it's only just slightly been pushed back. So it's really not a problem. But that has been probably the biggest challenge with COVID is just being able to stay locked in with all this going on, not knowing what's going to happen.
Yes, sir. Well, I believe it's going to happen, man. And I believe
I
when
hope so.
yes,
I'll be
sir, you will. I believe it because both football players, with you being a Thai boxer, him being a wrestler, it's gonna be a great fight. I cannot wait to see it, man.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. January 5th. No, excuse me. February 5th, Knoxville, Tennessee, Valor Fighting Championships. Tristan Scarborough, everyone.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother. Bye.